Today's episode of the Maintenance Mindset Minute is brought to you by AppWork. AppWork has this really cool function inside of it that lets maintenance technicians gather points and badges so that the management company can actually customize them to their property or to their organization. But it lets us as maintenance technicians get a sense of accomplishment beyond just superficial things. I mean, these badges are customizable to where they can be made to whatever behavior, whatever task, whatever trade that we want to incentivize our maintenance technicians to get better at. So check out AppWork. Today's thought for our Maintenance Mindset Minute that I want to bring up came from a kind of a unique source. Now, it's probably very evident if you meet me in person. I like food. I like food a lot. And my wife and I, we spend a lot of time watching cooking shows. Although, if I can go off on a little side tangent, I'm a little irritated by all the cooking shows that are out right now. It seems like all they are is competition shows. And while I do still watch them, and we do get some ideas for interesting meals and how we're going to prepare recipes and different things, I really would like just somebody to go through a process in depth without being under time or having limited resources or having to work with one eye blindfolded and the other hand behind their back or whatever. It's a competition. I don't want food as competition. I'm actually not a big fan of food as sport, but I digress. Today's quote that makes you think came from one of those shows. The show that it came from is this new one that is from a chef that my wife and I watch his show quite frequently, a guy by the name of Chef Michael Symon. He's hosting this competition show called 24 in 24 that was very recent on the Food Network. And one of the chefs there, and I feel kind of bad that I didn't catch his last name, but his name was Chef Camille. He had a quote in a real quick passing, intense moment that has stuck with me and really means a lot the more I think about it. His quote was something like, "You make a living by what you do, but you make a life by what you give." You make a living by what you do, but you make a life by what you give. There's a lot of times that I do things just because I know they're going to result in a paycheck, or they're going to result in money, or an investment in finances, or some other physical and tangible thing. And that's okay. We're not to minimize that. I mean, we need those things. We need money to buy food. We need money to go to restaurants, to have experiences. But it's the second part of that I really ponder a lot, which is you make a life by what you give. You know, our jobs, on site, on property, there's a lot of giving that's involved. To get underneath a sink in order to fix a clogged trap. They don't make the cabinets in large and tall sizes. So for me to get up underneath a kitchen sink, quite frequently, it's an operation, an ordeal, and often there's a cramp or there's pain afterwards, let alone the type of noises that my back makes when I stand up nowadays. But all of that is giving. As a maintenance technician, as a maintenance team on site, we do a lot of giving. And yes, it's very easy for that giving to become systematic and just go down to, I do my job. I did my job. I got the work order. I fixed it. It's done. I did my job. And yet, how much are we actually giving to the people in that apartment? I give the aches and pains to that apartment. Yes, in exchange, I make a living. I get a paycheck for doing that. But that's just making a living. My life is actually better when I think about what I give to that resident. When I go into that apartment, I want to smile. I want to provide a good attitude. No matter what else is going on in that resident's life, I want to be a little ray of sunshine in their life. Some cases, when we get a work order, it's the worst day that a resident has ever had. And if you've ever had a resident that a pipe broke or a sprinkler line broke in their apartment on the ground floor to where the carpet was floating, their belongings are destroyed. They're in trouble. Sometimes just that word of reassurance, the capability to be that light that, yeah, I'm going to fix the pipe, but also I'm going to point them in directions of resources. Not only that, I'm going to do a clean job. I'm not going to add to the problem, and I'm going to communicate correctly with them. Those are all examples of giving beyond making a living. Chef Camille, I want to give you props for in that situation on the game show, you were under a lot of stress and pressure. And yet you took a second and you gave food for thought to me. And I thank you for that. Thank you, audience, for joining me for this episode of The Maintenance Mindset. It's been sponsored today by AppWork. Head over to appworkco.com and take a look at what they can give that maybe can help you make a living better. Thanks again for joining me today, and I'll see you somewhere.